Welcome back to Christian Couples Conversations, right? That's a mouthful to say. But we're glad to be back, and we got another one for you guys. It's two becoming one. Two becoming one. And it's going to be a loaded session and a great topic. So I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to read, two shall become one flesh, express the heart of the Bible concept of marriage. By entering into marriage, a husband and wife takes solemn vows to become permanently one flesh, to love, honor, and cherish one another until they are parted by death. What?
I'll tell you in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. I see her grinning over there, so something.
Right.
I either say it wrong or, you know. So we're going to start this off, and I'm going to start at the first one, and then we'll go around the table, and then I got a couple of scriptures. And the first one comes from Mark 10, 6 through 9, and it says, "But at the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate." So that started in Mark. And I'm going to say one more because it ties into that one, because throughout the Bible, it's saying the same thing when it comes to two becoming one. It said over and over again. They actually said it in Genesis when it first started. Genesis 2, 23 and 24 says, "The man said, 'This is now bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, and she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh.'" You know what's funny here is throughout this, you'll hear that time and time again. Man shall leave his mother and father, and they should be united. You hear that all the time. But what you don't hear is the woman should leave their mother and father and come. It's directed to telling the man, listen, it must be something in our DNA, especially with moms, that it's harder for us to pull away. Maybe, I'm not sure, than men, but the Bible tells us over and over again, a man should leave his mother and father and be united with his wife. And I think that's very important to know, because when you do join in this union, you do have to leave, and everything got to go in that basket with your wife or with your husband. You guys have to, two becoming one, we have to learn how to move as one, think as one, pay bills as one, bank account as one. Whatever the case may be, we have to learn how to do that together. And in today's world, that's a very hard thing to do, because everybody is so independent and nobody want to give that up, through pains in the past, being hurt before. And with that baggage that we carry through our lives, when we finally meet someone that God wants us to join unions with, it's hard for us to give up that independency. So I want to just start it off there, and then I'll pass it to my wife, and then we can pass it around.
Okay, so first, we did not prepare for this together, right? We did this completely separately in the whole becoming one type of thing, right? But the funny thing is, we clearly researched some of the same articles and the same stuff, because I can see from what he's reading and what he's saying, and even the way that it is written, that we went and researched by reading some of the same articles and stuff. So go Team Austin. However,
my brain right there.
Okay. But the funny thing is that I think I took something completely different out of what I read, or maybe I interpreted it a bit differently. I did not in any way. I have definitely heard, man, leave and cleave and all those things. But I felt like it applied to both sides. For, we got to leave and, like you said, give up the independence and all of those different types of things. But I felt like it applied to both sides in a sense of just man being universal in that word, just in that sense.
Right.
But
I think it do apply to both sides, but I can't add or take away nothing from the Bible. But the Bible constantly tells a man to do that, and I just think it's, I just think the woman leaves regardless. They, it's something they want to leave anyway. They probably like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Bye. I don't know. But.
Okay, but what I took from everything in the research that I was doing in the scriptures that I was reading was a couple of points, and I'll kind of break them down in a few minutes. But one part that I was reading and it stood out to me was talking about going from freedom to partnership. And that is something I think that I have begun to notice, even career-wise or within work and counseling a lot of married couples and all these different types of things. There is so much competition where there really should be teamwork. And it has created a divide within the marriage because now it's almost like a who's one up. We're not becoming one. We're one-upping each other all the time. And healthy, friendly competitions are great, but in the world we are in, and one of the other, things that I was reading was talking about before sin and after sin. Before the apple and before they realized they were nude and all of those different types of things. And there was a whole different dynamic before all of those things happened. And then when sin was introduced and all those different types of things, the entire trajectory of all of it started to change. And it also gives almost a foreshadow of if we allow certain things to enter into our marriage and what can happen when we allow certain things to come into our marriage that could prevent us from being one. Because even after the apple, it was like Adam was like, this the woman you gave me. Because at the first it was like, oh, she a woman, she flesh of my flesh, all of these things. And it caused a divide in some ways. So it went in some context from being team Adam and Eve to now this the lady you gave me. What's up with that? You gave her to me. Right. And it transitioned from being that one, from being the person from 19 when he began to name every creature that God had created and then get put to sleep, and then the rib, and then the flesh of my bone, flesh of my flesh. We have to get back to bone and bone and flesh to flesh to be one. And I think in this world, in many of our lives, we have become so purpose focused that we, one, don't ask what God's purpose is. We try to fit God into our purpose. And then we do that with our spouses because we're not even starting it the right way. We're trying to fit God into the purpose we have rather than seeking God's purpose and will for us. So when we do have a spouse, when we do get someone, now how this person work in my purpose, I'm going to say it's God's purpose and it's God's plan, but how does person fit in there? And I think that has challenged a lot of relationships and what has transitioned it to more of a competition than actual team and connecting with each other. So what I sent you, Kim, is something really silly and it's really simple, but it's really hilarious in the sense of marriage. So please go ahead and open that. All right. And this is going to be a little bit different than what we would typically do because it is not scripture that I sent you.
Okay.
It is actually almost like newlyweds game. So you are going to just pick any 3 random questions. You can almost just scroll and let your hand land.
Okay.
But you're going to ask Sue.
Okay.
And he has to answer it, and then I will answer.
All right.
And I'm going to do the same thing for you guys.
Okay.
Okay? So any random question, I have no idea what she's going to ask.
Okay.
So just be prepared. And I promise there is a method to this madness. There's a reason for this.
Oh, yeah, we believe.
Absolutely. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna do.
You ready?
Not ready. I'm gonna do number 7.
Oh, ask it. I'm not even looking at it right now.
Oh no. Okay. Which Disney character are they most like?
Who?
You're
Us?
right.
Oh, what's this the character she like?
That was the most random one that just popped up.
Look, hey, we'll go with it.
Jasmine from
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
Okay.
Because Jasmine was stern and strong, and she was smart, but she was also funny, and she was a bunch of things. But she also was looking for love too. She didn't want to be thrown in that box, and that's who she is.
So are we talking live action Jasmine, or are we talking about cartoon?
I'm talking about live action Jasmine. I don't know about the.
I'll take
I think they're the same one, but okay.
Good answer. Okay.
Oh, okay. So my 3. Okay, go
Yep.
ahead.
What's their weirdest habit?
That I seen or not seen?
Either.
Because I know one that I've not seen.
Oh gosh.
I will allow myself to be vulnerable. What you gonna say?
The not seen one is eating dirt. I don't even know what that is.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
I don't know what that is. But
What is really dirt? Like really dirt?
I can explain.
it got something to do with, I don't know, it's before me. I don't know. So that's
See y'all out there.
well,
Okay.
we honest on this show. So
That's okay. Okay.
and third one.
What is the most embarrassing thing you've done as a couple?
I can answer that. Tell the world I eat dirt.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
Okay, go for it.
The most embarrassing thing we did as a couple. Yeah, think about that one. Embarrassing.
Or the funniest
Oh,
thing
that
that
one.
you did as a couple?
Embarrassing thing as we did as a couple.
I don't know. I think. Oh.
I mean, I could say embarrassing when we first started. It wasn't really embarrassing. Well, it was awkward. Well, it wasn't as a couple. That was me. It ain't got nothing to do with her. Well, it did have something to do with her. When we first met, it was like 2 months after we met, and we went to dinner, and all her family was there. I think that was the first time I meet her family all together. Everybody was there. I'm trying to be, me, throw a little gift on the table. It's this, I went into the store. You got to pay to get it. Tiffany's, right? Got the little blue box. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice little blue box. And on her birthday, it was also Father's Day. So, most of the stuff for her father. And I slid this blue box up there. Everybody thought it was a wedding ring. And they like to die. Like,
Oh my God.
they would have stabbed me if that would have been a wedding ring. We wouldn't be having this conversation. They was not ready. And it was like, and after it opened and it wasn't a ring, everybody was like, I'm like, damn.
Embarrassing for me.
Yeah, please. I'm that bad. I had to start smelling myself like that. Maybe I should have did a Walmart box. I don't know.
Wait, we literally had just talked about that the other day.
Yeah, I had to dig deep. So
Hey, but that is a very true story. Very true story. And I think I would have to agree with probably all of those. Yeah. My character for him, I think he probably knows who my character for him is gonna be.
yeah.
Cause he really does look like Frozone. On there for know if y'all ever see.
Where's my super suit?
Why do you need to know? No. Yes, he's Frozone. What was the second question?
Oh gosh. Let's see.
What was the second?
Embarrassing.
Habit.
Weirdest habit.
I don't know if it's
I'm just weird, period. So
agreed. Totally. No, I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's a weird habit. I mean, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know you. I'm saying I don't really know any habits you have that I think are weird outside of your obsession with horror movies, but that ain't a weird habit.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know.
You okay.
But I guess so, but that ain't happening. I don't know. I don't think you have. You weird. You young weird.
What about
What?
my cinnamon rolls with cheese?
Oh yeah. So maybe this the northern thing. Cole, maybe y'all can help us out. Him and like in cheese with his cinnamon buns. Like where that? Who do that?
Oh,
I don't know that either.
Exactly.
that's an acquired taste.
Look. So yo cheese in my dirt. I don't know. And I'm gonna explain the dirt later. But and then embarrassing. I guess I would. Oh no. I can say for me, my most embarrassing moment with him, it was very humbling, and I had to be very. It took some humility, but when I think I had told you guys before about this text message that came to his phone, and I went way left in my head. I went way left, and I'm talking like left fielder back against the fence type of left. And then when the truth of everything was out, I was like, so that was pretty embarrassing because it was almost me jumping to this judgment, and I had to, it was a reflection, but it wasn't a reflection of him. It was a reflection of me.
Yeah.
And it was a reflection of my insecurities. It was a reflection of just a lot of different things that some I knew and some I didn't.
Right.
But it was embarrassing, and thankfully his response and his way of being who he is helped me to not feel as embarrassed as it already was. But yeah, I think that was embarrassing, very embarrassing, but it was a teachable moment for me anyway.
Well, she was like, call me from the job.
No, I FaceTimed that
FaceTime. She'll never FaceTime.
Serious.
Okay, I just got to get this off my chest. Your phone rung this morning. I looked at it. Who was that?
Okay, first of all, I did not say it that way, but it was, I did not have a neck roll going. I got it.
But I was like, what, you mean this?
Whatever.
About? Like, I just sent it to her. Like, I'll have, it's,
Anywho,
Anyway.
that was a humbling, embarrassing moment for me. But I'm going to do the questions for you guys,
All right.
and then I will promise the method, the madness will, the answer make sense. Okay, random. Oh, I went all the way to the end. Okay, if your spouse could go back to school for anything, what would they study? Cole, this is yours first.
If she can go back to school for anything,
What would she study?
I will have to say two things. I think it'll be something to deal with real estate.
I'm
You know what I mean?
sorry.
It's okay.
We're gonna get you. Go ahead.
I think it has something to do with real estate, something in that genre. And I think the other thing would be go back to school for something in the medical field. So I think those two things are her passions a little bit. So I think it'd be one of those two if she had to go back to school.
Real estate and medical.
Right.
Y'all finna get bank over there. All right now. Okay. Who said I love you first?
Me.
That was
Definitely
so-
me. Definitely me.
All right, let me get another one. If your spouse could domesticate any animal and keep it as a pet, what would they choose?
An animal. For Kim, I think it had to be something cute like a koala or something like. It can't be nothing ferocious like nothing like a sloth or anything. It got to be something very cute and cuddly. So I think something like a koala for her.
Okay. All right. So Kim, it is your turn.
Okay.
First question.
All right. First question. What was it? Well, what would he go back to school for? Computers. I think Corey would definitely do that.
Definitely go ahead, because I have no computer literacy. Sue will vouch for that right now. Even my job say, yo, why are you here?
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second question, and you guys agreed almost simultaneously right there. Who said I love you first?
That
and it was
this
Corey.
when he was head over heels. He was telling everybody I was his wife before we even knew each other. But yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the third.
Animal.
Domesticate. What animal would he domesticate and keep it as a pet?
I'm gonna go based off his personality. I'm gonna say a lion, something like that, because he's like, he always have this persona like he's the king, so it has to match it. So I would say a lion, tiger.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It has to be something ferocious like that.
Okay.
I think Scarface had one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta be somebody to stand by. I know they got my back.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this little activity had somewhat of a dual purpose. Part of that was becoming one, from my perception, is a puzzle, right? And the questions and the situations are not always easily answered. Sometimes it's almost immediately answered, like question number 2, right? Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's almost like, wait, what was that for? Why did it? But we sometimes forget that this is a journey, and we almost want the immediate, because it's like, oh, we've been married 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. We shouldn't be at this same point. Mm-hmm. We don't necessarily need to be at the same point that we started, but it's always going to be evolving in the lessons and the things that we learn, because as we grow and get older, we grow, but we also have to grow in our minds and in our thoughts. And I think sometimes we forget, okay, we're married, boom, we're one. No, the work and the effort that comes with that to learn who I am. I'm not exactly the same woman from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I have some of the same qualities and the same traits, but I have grown. So this journey of one is just as much, it has to grow the same way that when these weird random questions pop up, or weird random moments in life and different things, how do I answer that? And like the questions you asked us, some of us like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Did I even ever think of certain things? Right. No. Sometimes we don't think certain things are going to come along in our marriage, or even as an individual within a marriage. So how do we adjust to those things and remain one? I think sometimes we get comfortable and forget that it is an ever revolving, evolving type of thing. And again, we forget to include God, because he's the last resort. Like, oh Lord, help us, help us, help us. But we forgot to seek the will in the first place, so that we can fulfill the purpose that God has called us for,
right,
together. But those questions kind of also served, the purpose of being a puzzle, because that is life. That is sometimes marriage all by itself, a puzzle, and trying to find and remember, one, the fun of the person that we're with. Not always just why this person get on my nerve, or why this person this, or why this person that. It's not the competition. It is a team. And sometimes the strength is going to be on his side, or the strength is going to be on my side. But that is what one is, you know, finding the balance of the strengths and the weaknesses. And the same scriptures, again, that he read and I saw, it resonated that in one of the versions that I read, and I think it was the easy version, what Adam said once he had named, and I highlighted it, once he had named all of the animals, given them names rather, this particular version says in verse 20, so the man gave names to the farm animals, to the birds in the sky, and to all the other animals. But none of these animals was the right helper for the man. And another version said none of these were the right fit. And then man said, this is after he put him to sleep and woke him up. Finally, this is someone who is right for me. And that's when it goes to bones of my bones and flesh of my flesh. We sometimes have to realize, okay, this dynamic or this thing, this isn't the fit yet. How do we get there? What do we do to make it fit? Rather than just abandon ship or just whatever the case may be, or we get stuck in our modes. How do we become one with what we have? Sometimes we got to sleep on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when we wake up and we revisit this thing, oh, finally, the right fit. But we have to be willing to do that. We have to be willing to accept that maybe it's going to take some time, because she was the last thing that God created out of his own body. It took some time to get there. I mean, and that's in a different sense of just creation, but it took some time to get there, to make it right and to fit right.
Right.
So for me, becoming one, that message gives me something that it does take time. But what else do we have?
Right.
You know, until we don't.
Right.
And that same article also spoke of enjoying every day like it's your last. We forget to do that sometimes.
Absolutely.
We forget to do that sometimes. So for me, becoming one, it means staying one.
Right.
And working on wholeness. Because that's how one happens as a whole, not the parts. That is the only whole. There's parts that create it, but if we ain't in this as a team, then why we in it?
Facts.
But that's what I got from that. So thank y'all for entertaining my little game.
Absolutely. It was fun.
That's really interesting.
I don't know if Kim want to give her aspect first.
No, you guys can go ahead, because you two have already said the points that you wrote down are the same ones I wrote down: Genesis, Ecclesiastes. So we're all on the same page.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, the ironic thing about it is two things you said that I think we undermine, and I'm gonna take two. I'm gonna start with the puzzle part. Mm-hmm. You ever notice, especially when children, when they get a puzzle or they get a game, the first thing they look at is the picture of the game, how perfect it looks, how organized and order it looks. And when they rip it up, when they take the present out the box, they want to try to make it look exactly how it is on the book. But the one thing that they forget to do before they do that is read the instructions. You know what I'm saying? They just take it out and say, oh, I'm just going to read it. And then when they come to issues where they can't put things together or make it fit the way it was designed to be, they get frustrated and give up.
Yep.
That's your point about marriage. So to me, Sue made a question about how God called the man to leave his head, to leave his home. You know why God's always going to call the man? Because man was God's first creation outside of the earth, in reflection of being an image of him. Everyone who has a first child, they're going to remember that first child. Because that first child that comes from you has a special bond. It's not to say it's no different than any other child, but that's this first experience you ever had when you created something that resembles you. So when God created man, that bond he had with him was precious. And everything, until we leave this earth, when it comes to orchestrating how God wants things to be run, is going to start with the man. You read in Genesis when Eve ate the apple tree, God didn't go to Eve and ask her why. He called Adam. The ironic thing for me, I'm like, if I was Adam, like, what you calling me for? I didn't do anything. Like, you need to go ask her. You told me the instructions. You told her the instructions. She the one that ate it. Why you mad at me? But God believes in order. Because I believe God said, listen, well, if you was there, it wouldn't have been no miscommunication because you'd have both been thinking on the same accord. You would be able to advise her, no, we ain't gonna do that. Because remember what God told us? It all starts from that. So I wrote some things down. And you highlighted on a lot of them, but I wanted to go a little deeper. I wrote this down. It says, by becoming one, you don't lose your uniqueness. Like you said, your identity, your individual. We just take our identity and apply it to a common goal or the purpose that God intended the marriage to go. The problem is, when people get married, that's not their first agenda. Their first agenda says, what are you going to do for me? And what am I going to get out of you? 95% of marriages starts like that. Because we have been taught and raised that we ought to get something out of the other person. The role is the husband take care of the wife, but I always tell people, show me that. People read the Bible in church, I'll be telling the pastor, where do you see that at? Where do you see I'm supposed to work and she sit home? Where do you see, find me that? But we orchestrate that in it because that's what man has designed his perspective of what a marriage should do. But we see when we did that and we didn't follow the instructions, we see divorce rise up. We see women's rights and man's rights come up. We see all these injustices and conflicts that comes between the two people who's supposed to be one start to evolve. So for God, when he told me, whenever it was time for me to get married, Corey, we have to consider the cost of what I'm requiring you to do first. I can say to Kim, the reason why I didn't get married a long time ago, because I wasn't ready to do that. I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not doing that, God. I got a lot of stuff that I want to take care of me first. And I want to get this from my wife. And God said, well, expect your wife not to follow you the way you want her to. Because if you want her to be any woman who you get with on earth, if you want them to follow your lead, you have to consider where you're leading them, that they're going to look at first. I don't care how naive you think they are. Eventually, they're going to say, you know what, where are we going now? You've been in this car going around the same circle, block the block. I don't think we're going nowhere. But in the beginning, you could sell your dream. We about to go to Vegas. And she like, yeah, we get in the car, I'm ready. Until she realized you just spinning the block. You know what I'm saying? Right. So to me, I had to challenge myself with that. But like you said, I didn't equate in all aspects some of the challenges that God wanted me to consider that only he can change first. I couldn't go out and just start doing it because you told me to, or because I know what I read of how to do it. God said, no, you ain't gonna do that because you know why? Your heart hasn't changed first. Your pride is still involved. Your guilt and shame for what you did in the past is still there. So Kim is gonna identify with that quick, and vice versa. But what I'm learning to do now, that's why I'm so gracious. I get teary-eyed sometimes because I'm saying, God, I'm 53 years old, and you're allowing me to come full circle in reference to how marriage to be. When to close my mouth, when to let you do your job, that I try to avoid doing it my way for a long time. But what I'm understanding, when I go by the instructions, peace comes over me. I can't explain. It's like when you just sit back and say, God, I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do and just let you do the rest. You don't have no stress. You only start to stress when you try to figure the person out. And I wrote something here. It says, marriage is a covenant, meaning it has an order on how it should be lived out and operated. If we do not operate in that order that God has stored for the marriage, then the benefits, everybody wants to benefit in marriage. When I get married, I want my wife, I want to have the beautiful wife. I want to have the beautiful job. I want to have the covering. I want to have beautiful children, smart. We want all these benefits that we were told marriage brings. But like it says, the benefit that God wants to bring to the marriage, he can't bring because we're not operating in sync. We don't have the same views. So when I look at people, when I say the marriage, I come across, I can identify, and according to you, a counselor, you can, when people tell you stuff going on in marriage, you can say, okay, I see no sync there. You got your perspective, she got her perspective. And every time we come to this conversation, you bring your perspective, opposed to looking at why you were married. To me, God said, Corey, if you spend time with me, I'll give you real clever how to figure out where your flaws are at. You don't always have to, counsel is good to get, but counsel is only gonna help if you're willing to take accountability for your part in the problem. If you're not, forget about it. You're just gonna go back and find another way to avoid the problem. Mm-hmm. So to me, when I see these type of things, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm not one to be ashamed of that. I have learned to use my humility and use my mistakes as weapons now. No one is gonna, I don't care if you point the finger all you want. You can say, oh, you think you got him? Great, I'm glad you think that way. Because two things is gonna let me see. It's gonna let me see the problem that I need to avoid before it gets to me. And it's also gonna show me how far I am when it comes to my relationship with my wife, or where I need to be. But today's society don't teach that. Today's society, church don't teach you that. You know what they teach you today? Based on how you feel. Based on what social media is telling you what makes you feel good. I wrote something down a while back. It says, a woman's needs or love is attached to her emotions and her heart. A man's needs is attached to his thoughts and how he thinks. Think about it. You look at Sue, most of the time when Sue come around, he's always got thought patterns of how he wants the family to move. He's not really bringing up, and some men got both. They got operator, listen, I think we should do this with our plan, be physical, and they can be attractive and physical and touch. They can do both. I call them men, they're the Idris Elbas of the world. You know what I'm saying? But the other men, like myself, one is stronger than the other. And usually that's because however relationship I had in my lives prior with other women, I used one more than the other. So whatever you use more is where you're gonna be strong at. Whatever you use less is where you're gonna have to grow. But what I've learned to do is figure out how to grow in it through the scripture. Not through Oprah Winfrey, not through my man's experience, not through what I see on TV, not through the love stories. Because like Sue said, every love story we see on TV, when a man lose the wife, lose the girl, get the girl, you know what they don't show you in the movie most of the times? What happens after he get what he lost? They make it seem like he got her forever. Now, problems are gone. So my reality was, okay, where did I see that in reality? You know what I'm saying? The only one I see that in consistency are the marriages that stay according to the plan. Who's able to admit, you know what, I need to humble myself. I need to sacrifice some things for my spouse. Things that I don't want to do, things that I don't like doing, things that I may think is corny and it's what he or she wants to do. But if I learn to sacrifice that, you know what I can get out of this situation? A better result than what I'm currently getting.
Can I ask you, and this is a question for both of you, what you were just mentioning, Cole, in the sense of just sacrificing growth, what do you feel, and Kim, I guess I'll start with you, where do you feel is the most significant thing that you learned about yourself in the sense of not just humility, but also in the sense of I have to not decrease myself, but I'm learning that us blending these things actually makes us stronger together?
That's a good question. I know that I have to, I'm a very strong-willed person, and I'm a very independent person, so I know that I had to humble myself so that he would be able to lead. Okay. I feel like, again, I said this when we were in our last session, I feel like when I fall back and I allow him to lead, then I feel more at peace. So that's something that I had to do. I figured that, that's basically what I had to do, is just humble myself, and I don't have to be so independent, and self-sufficient where I wouldn't allow him to lead. So
I guess the question for that part would be, what did he show you to allow yourself to feel confident enough to even fall back?
I think we are, because marriage is a process. So I'm still learning that part.
Okay.
Mostly because, everyone has flaws. Everyone have little quirks that they have to work out. He's showing me that he's definitely more grounded in spiritual wise, where he's getting the wisdom. My thing is putting it into action. We talk a good game. That's good. We know what to say, but we have to do it. You can't just say it. So
Right.
That part of it, and then also money part of it. He's getting better with money, so I'm allowing him to take that lead, and he's showing me that I can trust him daily with the money. So those are really the two big things right now. Moving forward, there's some other things that I want to address, but I think right now we just stay on those two things. Yeah.
Growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because Corey does well with one task at a time. I don't want to overwhelm him with so many things, so he doesn't have to focus on so many things. He does well when he has one thing to focus on, and he can handle that. When he gets a grasp for it, then we can move to something else. Yeah.
And I think that's the role reverses for us. He is the multitasker for a lot of things, and I am not.
Okay.
I'm like, hold up, pause, wait, stop. The hammer time. Hold on. Not like we have to stop for a second, because he is the multitasker, and I'm like, for a
And
second.
I'm the multitasker, and he's we doing one thing at a time. So yeah.
No,
which is
but-
really weird, because the books, and I read a whole thing stuff about marriage, and the one thing they do say is women has multiple boxes open, and they can always multitask between each box. And men has one box open, they work it, they close that box, and they open it. They say, so if you look at men and women as a computer, they mostly say women has a whole bunch of boxes open, and they can always just keep. You go look at their screen, they got 50 boxes open, and they're just multitasking. But men has one box open, they work it, they close that box, then they open the next one. And it is weird that we are kind of reversed on that, because I got 50 boxes open, and they all working at one time, and I see.
But hold on, let
one or
because
two.
Cole, that was a two-part question.
Oh,
Cole have to
okay.
answer
No, I
his
just had
part
to go
too.
there, and I ain't even meant to jump in, but
No,
what
but
you said.
that actually brings something full circle from what Cole said and then what Kim said. So I want to bring.
Sorry about that. Cole, jump back.
You good? You good?
Nah.
So the question is for me.
Yeah, this is the same question that I asked Kim of what did she have to kind of pull back within herself, like, and then the things that you showed her. So what did you have to pull back in a sense of, maybe even more so, I don't even want to say acknowledgement, but really understanding, like, wow, this is me, this is her, but this woman right here, and whatever it is within me that may be complicating some things, what did you have to pull back with?
Well, for me, I think, like Kim said, those things are still developing to fix out the tweaks that I feel as though we are facing in the marriage. But if I had to say just one thing in particular that I feel as though I'm dumbing down with, is maybe just to lessen my voice on opinion on the things that she does. Like, I'm trying not to be very opinionated over her choices. You know what I'm saying? I'm allowing her to learn through her choices, which to me will give her a better understanding of the choice, opposed to always, like she said, preaching about it. Well, why did you do this? Like, why I wouldn't do that, things of that type of nature. Because I believe in the marriage. I wrote something down, and I'm glad you brought that point up, because it says, when it comes to providing biblical love, now check this out, from a husband's standpoint, so that's mine, it's not to be articulated. I'm good at articulating things. As you can see, I can read and break down how things supposed to be done. But it's more about how you demonstrate what you articulate. Now, the problem is when you articulate something that you want a person to be or want a person to receive, what makes us stop from demonstrating it, we feel as though the person has to be at a certain perspective to accept the demonstration, right? They have to be at a certain mindset. But what God is saying to me, that's just the opposite. You know what I'm saying? The more you demonstrate what you articulate, then the faster it helps them get to the level that you want them to become. Because now they're entrusting in the things that you are saying about them that they are, but also showing them that they are. But here's the reality of it. When you come through something that has been either broken or something that has underlying issues, there's always going to be a problem. For example, I heard Tony Evans said this before. He said he had this crack in the wall and he had this painter come fix the crack in his bedroom. So the person came and fixed the crack, and then about 2 weeks later, the crack came back. So he called the guy. He said, hey, I thought I told you to fix the paint. The guy said, I did. So he went and he fixed the crack. And then another 2 weeks later, the crack came back. So he said, well, maybe it's just the painter. He's not good at his job. So he went and got another painter. And when the painter came in, he saw there was multiple cracks. So he asked the painter, could you fix this? The guy said, oh no, I can't fix that. He said, wow, you a painter, you see it got cracks in the wall. He said, why you can't fix it? And the painter said to him, because your problem isn't with the cracks, it's with the foundation. And your cracks that you see is just a result of what's going on in the foundation. So people don't like to see the foundation. We want to build up the foundation like, okay, I want you to change. And God said, no, you gotta go back down to the foundation. You can put up a moment. I tell people they have moments in marriages. Everything is good. Physicality is good. Things are good until that foundation emerges again. Kim will tell you, I always say, I'm not a person who like to sweep. I'm not good at hiding things under the rug. I never been, even before I got saved. I have to fix, maybe because that's how I was trained in school or how my father did. I got to fix the problem because I don't like down the line the problem to come back up. And then someone say, well, you think you know about the problem before? I don't like to be in those scenarios. So if there's a problem, please expose it to me so I can fix it. And then we can find out if that was really the problem. Because once we build the foundation and everything is smooth, then that problem shouldn't occur again. Because now you fix where the problem started from. What we tend to do is say, no, I don't want to worry about the foundation. I just want to worry about what's visible. I don't like how you make me feel. I don't like how you treat me. I don't like how you, and I'm saying, well, when we're going to look at why you feel that way about me and I feel that way about you. And most people, I always use my parents' situation sometimes. They don't want to do it because it's going to expose what they really think. You know what I'm saying? So to me, the beauty of what God did for me, he said, Corey, I have to break you from that because you're not going to get to the relationship I want you to have with me if you don't want to expose what I really see. So when a person doesn't do that, I don't care what you may get through the problem, but it's going to take a long time because it's going to be years and years and years of you imitating what you think is fixing the problem, but reality, that problem is getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where the house just falls apart. Like we saw in the incident with the bridge in Maryland. You know what I'm saying? No boat should have hit that and it fell apart, just no boat hitting it. I can guarantee it was some structures in that water that they avoided that made that bridge come down. And for me, I've just come to the reality that, God, I want you to show me that now. Because I don't want to be 70 years old and we still acting like we was when we were 20 years old. So that's one of the key things I look at first.
I think you said a lot of powerful things. Both of you said a lot of powerful things in every way and in every context. And something that I took away from that is also just having that teachable spirit, that humility that has to come with a lifelong, because remember, a lifelong partner means it's a lifelong journey.
Right.
And it's the lifelong period of growth and adventure and all of these things that you experience just through life in general, things you never even imagined, both good and some not so great in different moments. But having the teachable spirit, but allowing yourself to see it too. There's a difference between things happening and then just wanting to actually acknowledge it.
Right.
And wanting to address it. Kind of like you said about the foundation. And the painter saying, I can't fix that because this is a foundation issue, not just the crack type of issue right here.
Right.
The foundation is shook. And that's where we really do have to plant the seeds for the harvest we're hoping to have, and for the things to grow and going to that. And that's the self-reflection as well as the mutual respect, the reflection within the marriage. But something did come to mind, and I wasn't trying to make a list, but the way he said it, it just brought it out. With my husband and his thoughts, that would probably be the most annoying habit. Not the thoughts themselves, because he is definitely a man of many talents. But he will start a conversation and he learning. He getting better. He will go from one thing to the next conversation. I'm like, wait, baby, what we talking about? Wait, huh? Where we at? Help me. And then he started to get to that point and be like, okay, new subject. Like, he'll break it in. But I'll be like, okay, catch me up. What we talking about? Like, he came in the room today. He was like, oh, he said he was going to do this and do that. Like, who? Wait, what we talking about? So that I probably would say that's true. That's true.
Corey, you said something, which is you were saying articulate and then demonstrate. And I'm a firm believer of that. Like, I'm all about showing. Like, we all can talk, right? I hear people talk all the time. Oh, I want to do this, and let's just break it down to like relationship stuff. Oh, I want this person back, and I want this. Okay, but you gotta show what you're talking about. You can't just promise this stuff, right? You can't just say, okay, baby, I'll do this for you. I'll do this. I promise. We're gonna do this. What the husband or wife, whoever in that, insert the blank in the blank, right? Whoever that person is saying that, what they don't realize is that partnership, that person is going to wait to see how long you're going to do that.
Right.
Not just one time. Like, okay, yeah, we're going to start, I'll start going to church.
Right.
Yeah, 2 Sundays and you done?
Right.
You're not showing me nothing. That's not enough,
right.
And sometimes we're, like you said, we're the foundation. We're not willing to break back the carpet, bust up the floor, and fix what's under it.
Right.
We just want to patch it. And that little patch don't work because eventually it's gonna crack again.
Right.
I'm a person say, hey, baby, if I say, okay, we're gonna do this, more than likely we're gonna do that. If I say I'm gonna get something, more than likely I'm already got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna show, what I say. I'm gonna back it up with that, because I just learned through the books and the videos I watched that's the only thing that matters at the end of the day is, especially as we get up in age, and as you grow with someone, depending on what they've been hurt by, man or woman, and if they've seen that before and they heard that before, now you're saying it, I'm gonna do better. They're like, yeah, all right, I heard that already. So we have to do what we said. The Bible said, let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Right.
And
if you say you're going to do something, do it. And
that brings me to this one last question that I want all of us to answer.
Okay.
And we can start with you, Code. The thing that you feel is the most beautiful connecting thing, or it can be one of many, but it's just that thing that connects you to your wife as one.
I think it's been the same from before. Outside of, my wife, I always say she's very pretty and she's attractive from the physical aspect. But I feel though we have something that we both share in reference to what God wants to bring out. I used to tell my wife when she was before, I see something in you that's yearning to illuminate. You know what I mean? Not just this fact that you're a nice person and you help others, you know what I'm saying? And you want to look the best for others. But we have a connection to the point. She said something like, well, he was always said when he first got me, he's going to marry me. My thing, she has to realize, I predicted what I always felt we had in common before we got married. So I had to have something about her that I feel as though we can grow together eternally with, that's going to make us the best versions of ourselves. So I won't say there's one particular there's this one characteristic, because I think when you dumb it down to the one characteristics, I think sometimes we tend to leave out the other things that we were designed to be with each other, to build, to uplift. We just focus on, oh no, you pretty, or you make me feel good, and we keep telling them that's what it is. But how about the other areas that God said no? But I also watching her life to let her see how important she is to me. How about those other aspects? And I think that's what I'm trying to come to a full blossom. I'm always going to love Kim for who she is. I'm always going to love her because she's beautiful. And I'm always going to love her because I feel as though she has a good heart. But I feel as though to make a marriage go, like your God said, to eternity, it's going to take a lot more than just those attributes. So that's me.
Okay. Kim.
Pass the mic, quick.
Right. What was the question? Because he lost me right there. What was the question? Repeat it again, please.
What is the thing that connects you to code that makes you feel as one? Just you are not the one, just the one, but makes you feel as one, in maybe even in a spiritual sense, as one.
Kind of like he said, biblically wise, it is the fact that I just love, that draws me to him, is how he stay committed to the Bible, and how he stays committed with trying to learn and study the Bible. When he does the men's meetings, what is it? Mondays and Thursdays, and then when he meets with Sue on Wednesdays, those are the things that draws me to him. In a physical aspect, he's handsome. Is it in our love for travel or things like that? But yeah, I'm going to go with the biblical side. It's going to be how he always indulged into the Bible and things of that nature.
Yeah, I just liked his body. That was it. No. I mean, well, do what you can do, we can do it. But the thing, I think for him, and it took me a while to even be able to appreciate it because I was so insecure in some ways. But it was really, he's a doer, he's a shower, and where that energy come from, I don't know, but he is a doer. And he said something a few minutes ago, like if he says you're gonna do something, and I think maybe in some ways I've become lazy because he has, but it does inspire me to be the best version, kind of like what Cole was saying, the best version of myself. It pulls something out of me. I mean, I already feel accomplished, so to speak, in some ways, but as a wife and a mother, it has been humbling to see his effort as a husband and his efforts as a father. And it's something that it makes me feel even more connected to him because I want to be on his level when it comes to that. I want us to be on the same level together when it comes to those types of things, because we make We make each other better. I feel we make each other better. We pull these things out of each other, but I feel like my energy connects with his. He pulls the greater energy out of me. Let me switch that up because his energy on a whole nother atmosphere. But he pulls more out of me just by being the doer. And I can definitely procrastinate. I'd be tired. I'd be like, okay, yeah, later on. I could procrastinate. And
Right.
I'll focus on what I'm going to focus on. And then I need my time. He just pushes and pushes and he goes and he goes. And I admire that. Sometimes I'll be like, baby, okay, you need to rest, chill, give your body a break. But he goes and he goes. And I feel like the connection where I have weaknesses. He has strengths. And then other things, he'll be like, baby, you good at this. Just, you go ahead. You got this. That type of thing. So I feel like the balance, I guess that's what the word I'm looking for. There's a really good balance that God has allowed us to continue to grow and build. But yeah, he's a doer. He is definitely a doer. And I had to learn to appreciate that and then allow my own insecurities to kind of be way back there to heal, basically, from some things so that I didn't take that out on him or continue to take it out on him.
How about you, sir?
Well, what all y'all said, just put it to mind up. She is that part of me that was missing. If that makes any sense.
No, go deeper. No.
I can go deeper. Like,
no.
She is, it's that if you ever been in a relationship, well, you have, all of us have, right? But she goes and it don't matter for her. She tried to do it for me just to make me happy. That, you know what I'm saying? And most people don't do that.
Right.
And we do that back and forth. Like, I don't really care about this, but that's a part of me. But she does that too. Like she was like, I'll do you on your birthday. I'm gonna do this and rent a boat. It's just like she don't care about herself in that way. Like, even if I don't get it, I just want to make sure he's happy, right? And most people just don't have that. Connection. They don't have that,
right?
From experience, the people that, it was more of what you're gonna do for me, and when you do that, it's only for that week, then what's next? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody said, when you're a star, you know what I'm saying? Like you're on top of the world, you're a rapper for this week. But if you don't sell no records next month, you ain't getting in that club for free. You gotta pay. You know what I'm saying? Right. So for her, it's like I love that part of her that shows that type of selfless love, which, and she's always, behind me and encouraging me. Oh, okay, you can do that. Yeah, you can do this. You can do that. That's great. So that part of her, I really do love. It do connect us. Like she said, we are yin and yang. And even when it comes to, like, we had back when we used to do a marriage thing, and I think I told y'all this story about like arguments, and I was like, nah, we don't argue. She was like, yes, we do. I was like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like,
right.
But coming from me that had arguments to 1,000, like last person was 1,000, like that was an argument, like, and our arguments be like, oh, then I'd be like, oh, that was an argument. Oh, cool. Right. It's like Mike Tyson punch you in the face. No, that's a punch. But then your little baby punch you in the face. You're like, oh, did he punch me? So our misunderstandings and arguments and stuff, when I realized what she was saying, I was like, oh, okay. It was just the fact that I wasn't used to the little ones. I was used to the we can talk it out type thing. So it's a lot of stuff that I can go on and on spiritually. You know, even when we first met, I lived, 30, 40 minutes from her. You know, we was apart. And when we first met, she used to drive all the way where I was at. And then we was to go to my church, which was even farther, So it wasn't like, come to my church, come here, do what I want you to do. No, I want to see what's a part of your world. Let me see what you like to do. Right. Let me get involved. Even if I don't like it all the way, at least I know a little bit about it, and she does that. The one thing that I just cracked her into breaking into is the horror, Right. She don't like it, but last year was her first time she went in the horror house, so she could say never, but she was in the horror house with me like, so, but the fact that she did it, you know what I'm saying? And it was like 100, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this together. She always said, we ride or die, we're gonna do this stuff together. Right. And she don't worry about a lot of things, so she kind of just let me go ahead and do it. And, just thank God that he prepared me for where I'm at, so I'm able to do that. But for her, that's what I said, it's like I told her, I love you like when I first met. It's just how it is, the attraction, everything, because for me, I already knew what I wanted, and I know she knew what she wanted. And our foundation at the beginning, I think, was really strong. We did have one big argument before, and it had a lot to do with grief and all this other stuff after losing child and stuff like that. Right. And that's the one time I saw the lioness come out of her. Right. And I was like, okay. That's the one time. And I was like, oh, okay, let me get out of here before I get bit. But as far as from that, it's been good. And that brings me to this right here. I broke something down. It said, oneness in marriage reaches far beyond the physical level, because that's what everybody be, the physical level. That's what everybody thinks. Right. It said the original Hebrew word translation as flesh refers to much more than a person's physical or sexual composition. It relates to the whole human existence. The biblical view of one flesh communicates a union that covers every facet of a couple's joint lives as husband and wife. In marriage, two whole lives unite together as one emotionally, intellectually, financially, spiritually, and in every other way. The two shall become one in purpose. They are so close that they function like one person. They are so close that they function like one person, balancing each other, strengths and weaknesses, so together they can fulfill their God-given calling.
I think that's a great way. I had one.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Go ahead. Say what you gonna say.
Go ahead.
No, she can go ahead.
That one thing, my purpose of asking that question, and that kind of just connected right to it. It goes back to what you were saying, Code, about foundation. And when challenges happen in a marriage, or challenges happen, or when unexpected things just pop up out of nowhere, when these things happen in a marriage, the foundation has to be solid. It goes back to that scripture. Baby, you grab that. Right. The scripture of the men who one built on solid foundation, and then the other one on, shaky foundation. Right. And if we can remember not only just the foundation, but who our foundation is in, any challenge within a marriage, if we can remain humble and remain focused on God's purpose for our life and for our marriage, that this too shall pass, or that the beauty of even the storm, and we were leaving to go to take the kids to school the other day, and it was raining, and Tegan was she was like, mommy, why it's raining? And, you know, I had to come up with the cute little fairy tale type
Right.
answer. No, that's just God's way of watering the trees and the plants and, you know, all of that kind of stuff to keep the world beautiful.
Right.
But it's still the truth, even with marriages. Those storms, sometimes they do weather us. They do make you want to run and hide at times. But after the storm and the nourishment that comes from some of the things that we go through, it just makes us even stronger, like what he was mentioning about the grief and all of those different types of things. Allowing it to connect us even more. And I think some of those, there's this song called Intentional. It is intentional. Even the things that we go through that don't always feel great in a marriage, if we stand on that foundation of God, not putting God in our purpose, but walking in God's,
Right.
there's no way we can't win. There's no way we can't grow. And there's no way you can't feel love. There's no way you can't. It's impossible to walk in God's will and his plan and his purpose and not come out pure as gold.
Well, it's funny you said that because that was going to be my conclusion. Because I was going to ask a question because you guys said two things that I think people underestimate. There's two relationships that people, I believe in a marriage, is going to face. You have the one that's, like Sue said, you just have this energy that's connect, you vibe real good, everything flows naturally, and it's easy for you to overcome some of the obstacles because you're on the same accord. You do have people that are blessed with those type of marriages. But the aspect of what you said that a marriage is designed to fulfill or what we're supposed to abide in also helps the marriages that weren't in sync like that. They also give you something to strive to reach to. I always say that, I had a question, is like, when we say this thing about being oneness, what aspects can you use to be one? And I believe there's only two ways you can be one in a marriage. That's when two have unionship in physical way to love each other. That's how they become one. And the other one is spiritual. You can't be one or the other. You can't be so much one in flesh outside of when it's intimate. But you can be one in so many ways in spiritual that sometimes has nothing to do with being intimate. It can be a thought. It can be a drive. But the thing that I think is a challenge for people that I believe that me and Kim is living up to the challenge to do, like you said, Courtney, when you read the Bible, and I'm gonna be totally honest, and you're looking for instructions on how you can be better, what aspect of the Bible that you read in reference to what we know we're doing wrong and how we can get better, is it gonna come with a little hard work? Is it gonna come with a little humility or a little less being selfishness? It's gonna come with it. The problem is, like you said, when it's time to apply that is when the struggle gets in. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, you can apply stuff that's comfortable for you to do when it's beneficial. You have no problem in doing that part of the applying, but we do have a problem doing the part that's uncomfortable, that isn't gonna benefit us. Like Sue said, you said Sue likes to do a lot of stuff because he's going, but you know why he likes to do it? Because he's comfortable in doing it. He's comfortable in doing it. I used to ask my father why he worked. My father said, this is what I like to do. I'm never going to be uncomfortable in something that I like. With marriages, you have to find out what that person likes. And whatever he said he likes or she says she likes, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not, you should learn to find some type of will to submit towards it. Because I believe what that's going to do is cause the communication to get a little stronger, a little closer, a little more unified. And then you won't have these moments of despair when you question each other about how you feel. I don't like to I've come to the conclusion in my life that I'm tired of running from that as an excuse. I love Kim to death. And my role as a husband is to love Kim like God loved the church, right? That's my role. But if I don't understand what love looks like in doing that role, then I'm going to also give mixed signals of what that, like you said, that description looks like. You may say, yeah, you love me, but I don't want you to love me in that way. That's that type of love I don't need. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it may be gifts, it may be material things, but right now I need more of your attention. I need more of your motivation. I need more of your touch. If I'm not in sync with when to do that, then that can cause confliction too. Because even though you're accepted, it may not be what's needed to fix whatever you're struggling with. And that goes for both parties. So I believe when we come to this, that's how our approach should be. Every night I try to go to bed and I tell Kim and myself, I ask God, where am I failing at? You know, I want to be like you guys said, one, we doing stuff sync, you know, I think everyone wants that, you know what I'm saying? But the problem is if you're lacking that, find out where that problem is. Because like you said, if we banking on God to do it, Courtney, you already said we can't lose. If I can't lose, then what's hindering me from banking on what he's instructed me to do? I'm going to win. I'm going to get my problems answered. So I just think that's important for us to just consider and to share to people who may be having these struggles that looks to us as believers to advise them on what they can do, but also demonstrate when we have our own struggles or what we put our trust in to fulfill.
Kim, you want to say something?
I think you guys have covered it because I'll just be repeating everything. But no, I agree with what Corey said. Yeah.
Okay. No, definitely. Everything. It's been a good session today. You know, I think we covered a lot of things. We had games. I like that part.
Yeah, I like that.
And the two becoming one is definitely, I think, the one main thing we should take from it, and people that's actually listening, take from this is your actions, you know, speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
You know, you hear that cliche all the time. But it's the doing part. You ever hear somebody say, man, I walk over some burning coals for that, but till they see the burning coals, you know, they're like, you know what? It's not worth it.
Right.
You know, and certain, you know, in order to do what God is saying what we should do, one, you got to buy in. You got to believe that He can do it. If you don't believe that, you already lost.
Right.
Right? If you don't believe that way. Two, you got to have faith. And three, you got to have humility. Mm-hmm. That humility, man, it's gonna cancel out. It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna come and you're gonna say, all right, I got that. Oh, you gotta be humble. You mean I gotta take it on the chin this time? You mean it gotta be 95.5 today? I can't do that.
All right.
Some people want it to always be 50-50, and nothing's always 50-50.
Right.
You know, sometimes you gotta put that person on your back and just carry it. Amen. You know? But then they will take it off of you and then they'll carry it. That's how it goes.
Right.
Marriage becoming one person, that's how, and so many times where it's just not like that. You're like, man, you know, and Cole, you said something that was really important, and then I'll let you pray us out, is if you don't know that person's love language, what they like, you got to find that out. You got to ask the hard questions, because you could, you know, I could touch her all day, but that might be annoying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that might not be what she likes.
Right.
You know, and I think I'm doing what she likes, but that's just not it. You know,
But I think the thing to that also is a matter of honest, humble communication. And to say, I have gotten to the point, because one, touch is not my love language. However, there are moments when I want touch. There are moments when I want, embrace or whatever. And I can say, I'll go in there and like, babe, tonight when you're done, just come hold me. Come put your arms on me. Come just, I just want to, and he'll make it. Oh, okay, I'm good. Be in there in a second. Whichever. But I think communication and not just talking the talk or get a point across has to be the goal.
Right.
To understand. Not just so let me get my point across so you can hear what I got to say, but I want to understand. I want you to understand me, and I want to understand you, like you both were just saying about love languages or anything else, to be quite honest, why I may feel a certain way or any kind of misunderstanding, even in that situation that, I kind of put myself out there. I needed him to understand why I had certain insecurities or even have certain insecurities. But I also had to understand why he's trying so hard to show me that I don't have to feel that way. And then why I have to allow myself to heal.
Right.
And that's that's a me and God type of conversation on that one. But it is really, truly the understanding of that and wanting to be just the best version of ourselves for each other. And I truly believe he wants to be the best version of himself, not only just for me, but for God. Even more so than me.
Right.
God. And I truly believe he works for that daily. He works to be that man daily for God. And everything else just kind of falls in line. I just get the benefits of him trying to be a godly man, that type of stuff.
Right.
But I'll take it. And I will be satisfied. That song that Todd Dulaney sings, I'll be satisfied with. I will.
Right.
And I am. Thank you, baby. Okay.
All right. Well,
yeah, we got to wrap it up. Let me go.
Yeah.
Just in bed.
I guess I'll
cool.
pray
You
out.
can say your last thing and pray.
No, I'll just go ahead and pray out.
Okay.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, first and foremost, I want to give you all praise, glory, and honor. And I thank you that you are allowing us as marriage couples that you ordained to be together just to share our thoughts, to share our understanding of the scripture, and also to share our concerns to whoever may be viewing this of how important it is to get it right on this thing you call marriage that you ordained. I ask that you continue to give us wisdom and insight, that you expose the areas in our lives that we need to become more stronger in, but that you also complement the areas in our lives that we are doing good in, to remind us that you're proud of your children, being pillars of this thing that we have together. So until the next time we meet, I ask that you cover over our wives, cover over Sue and Courtney and all the viewers and friends that are in a marriage. And I ask that you keep us protected. I ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Good one, man.
Yes,
Next month. Can't wait.
Yes, sir.
Say good night.
Peace. That's Dallas, right?
No, that's Dakota.
Okay, Dakota. Okay.
Oh, everything Dallas.
Yeah, I
Dallas, Dakota.